Hello and welcome to my French Grand Prix weekend race predictions. The series in which you guys, the audience, can get involved. Following that link in the top line of the description, you'll be asked several questions, which we'll just go over in a brief little moment, about the French Grand Prix to be entered into the Audience Championship. And we will also briefly go over the current standings at the moment. So without further ado, we will jump on into the French Grand Prix predictions for qualifying, a bold statement, and then the race. So how exactly is this going to work? Following that link in the top line of the description, you'll be asked for your top 5 for qualifying, your top 5 for the race, and one bold statement as well. This can encompass the entire weekend or just a small little section. Now, in terms of point scoring, you will receive 2 points for a driver in the correct position in your qualifying top 5, and 1 point for a correct driver in your top 5, but not in the correct position. Exactly the same is then done for the race, and then 5 points will be achieved for your bold statement. There is, of course, lots and lots of leeway for the bold statement, as there can be various different levels of boldness, but each statement will receive 5 points if it is correct. So now let's take a look at the current leaderboards at the moment. These are the season-long leaderboards. Now, I do have a current list of average scores for the people that have not entered every single round so far this season, but in order to keep this video nice and short, I have not included those just yet, only the total scores throughout the season so far. If you do want to check out the full list of scores, that will come out in my driver rankings video on Sunday. So at the moment, we have Evan Darcy leading the way on 84, followed by Joe Bisho, the 5 Red Lights channel, and then myself and a Doctor Who channel on 71. Then a little bit further down that order, we have people like Elliot, Gear Down Aviation, Joshua as well. Then we have Leroy on 23, we've got Callum on 16, we've got Dan Claver on 12, we have Tibor on 11, Rubber Duck, WR on 13, and then in the final table we have people like Amelia Swan on 10, Andre 13 on 6, Mika Tukkanen on 6 as well, and then Pablo on 4. But like I said, don't worry too much about your positions in this leaderboard, as there is an average points per round leaderboard as well, in which you can slowly crawl up that one instead. But now we will take a look at my predictions, and we're going to start with qualifying. So let's take a look at my qualifying top 5. And for pole position, I have gone for Lewis Hamilton. Pole position number 101. And then P2, I've gone Valtteri Bottas. A Mercedes front row lockout, which I believe will be the first front row lockout of the season. Please don't quote me on that, I can't quite remember. And then P3, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez. And then interestingly, I've gone for Carlos Sainz. Now, the reason I've gone for a Mercedes front row lockout is France is definitely a Mercedes track. It is very similar in essence to Spain, in which they both dominated, and especially Lewis Hamilton, and it is completely different to Monaco and Azerbaijan, the 2 tracks in which they have previously struggled. Now, of course, they do still have their inherent tyre warm-up issues, that is the Mercedes team at the moment, so perhaps if the temperatures are cooler or hotter than expected and Mercedes cannot get their tyres into the optimum tyre window, then yes, of course they're going to struggle. But I do believe they may have some sort of fix, but honestly, who knows? We're going into a triple header, a lot can happen. So there is my qualifying top 5 all done and dusted. I do think that Carlos Sainz will have an exceptional qualifying and beat Charles Leclerc overall. So from qualifying, we now take a look at my race top 5. And for a victory, I've gone for Lewis Hamilton. I think he's just going to have one of those classic Lewis Hamilton Grand Prix where he starts from pole, leads pretty much every lap, maybe just keep a consistent 5 or 6 second gap to Verstappen, who is in P2 the entire way through the race, and just basically dominate and control the pace. I wouldn't say, I think dominate is a little bit too far, but definitely control the pace, much like Verstappen was in Monaco. And for the final position on the podium, I've gone for Sergio Perez. I think he's going to get 2 podiums on the bounce for Red Bull, unless of course it's going to be one of those hectic races like it was in Baku, where none of the predictions come right whatsoever. Then for P4, I've gone for Carlos Sainz, just improving upon his very good qualifying that I have so far predicted. And then P5, Lando Norris. Now, we know the Red Bull is super quick, and at the moment, as of round number 6, it is currently the fastest car on the Formula 1 grid, closely followed by the Mercedes, but Red Bull is definitely the fastest. So I do expect them to be close to Mercedes, but I just think that Lewis Hamilton will be able to just sort of stretch his legs a little bit, show the fact that he is that 7-time Formula 1 world champion, and maybe put in a performance like we saw in Spain and also Bahrain. And also mainly because I want the championship to go a little bit longer. I don't really want Verstappen to win and then him extend it by 7 points. I would like Hamilton to win and claw back some of those points so it stays really super close, where a victory in second will change the order of the championships. I don't really want someone to creep away every single race. That's a little bit disheartening and would sort of ruin what's happened so far in these first 6 races. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, we will head back to the predictions, and from the race top 5, we will now take a look at my bold statement, and it is that Valtteri Bottas is going to have a stinky race. Now, Valtteri Bottas has had He's had one absolutely dreadful race, and that was Baku. Monaco, it was actually going quite well. He was just extremely unlucky with that DNF. He 100% would have been on the podium in Monaco. It's just, again, it's sort of in that he didn't score, so people think it's a bad race. I was about to say he had a bad race as well, but Baku was 100% just an absolute stinker for Valtteri Bottas. And I do think that he might just struggle a little bit in this race. Qualifying, I put him on the front row. Perhaps that's a little bit of an overestimation for Valtteri Bottas, considering I think he's going to have a shocking race. Who knows? Who knows? There are, of course, all of those reports that are currently circulating that he is already out of the Mercedes seat come 2022. Some people think he's already going to be out and they're going to do a mid-season switch with George Russell. Who knows? Who knows? But there we go, there is my predictions for the French Grand Prix all done and dusted. Please remember to follow the link in the description down below to submit your predictions. There will also be a second link in order for you to check those as well. You can submit them up until the start of Q1. And also, please let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of my predictions and what you also think and can expect from the French Grand Prix. Also, just a small little channel update. I now currently have a part-time job for 20 hours a week, which has completely ripped away all of my video making time. Well, not all, obviously, as you're currently watching a video, but most of my video making time. I'm currently working for 4 days a week, about 5 or 6 hours each day. And unfortunately, 3 of those days are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, this does mean I'm going to have to slightly shift up my upload schedule. So before there would be 8 videos over an entire Grand Prix weekend, that's going to have to slightly change. I'm going to have to completely scrap the practice edition of the race weekend data analysis, as there is no way whatsoever that I'll be able to upload that before qualifying, as I will be at work. So the qualifying edition will be slightly delayed to later in the evening, hopefully on Saturday, if not Sunday morning. And then everything should all sort of be roughly the same, just a couple hours, maybe a day later. I do luckily have Monday off, so I will still be able to get the race edition of the race weekend data analysis all done. The big data crunchy video, that should be all done, but all of the slightly smaller and the minor things, they may have to just be pushed back a little bit. And this current predictions video, that can easily still come out on the Thursday, as I have Wednesday and Thursdays off. But yes, just letting you guys know, for those that have stayed for the full length of this video, that there will be some small little micro changes to the upload schedule. Basically just sort of pushing everything back just a little bit. But that is all I've got for you today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next episode with whatever and whenever I decide to make it. I'll see you guys then.